Hello everybody and welcome back to Skip Allen Paints. This is video 2 in a series of videos about making patterns from paper. Okay, in the last video we made this seamless canvas by using what you see is what you get paper extractor, a WYSIWYG paper extractor from David Gell's pattern pens brushes. Okay, so the next thing you want to do, be sure that you're on the canvas layer, and you want to go Control A or Command A, Control A, and that will give you Select All. You can also come up to Select All and click on it. Okay, so once it's selected, now I'm going to go over to my Patterns control panel, and I'm going to click on Capture Pattern. And we say Capture Pattern, and then I have a title box up there. So I'm going to call this Gesso for Blog, because I've got several of them in here already. All right, so now what I'm going to do is say OK. And in a few seconds or two, we will change to this pattern. There you go. Now I have my pattern that is just like my paper. And so at this point, we can use this pattern. All right, now, I would suggest that you take this and save it with save it in, I have a file folder called Custom Painter Stuff. And so I have a patterns folder. And I would, anytime I make a pattern like this for either a paper, for a pattern, I would save it in the patterns group. If I made a paper from this, it might be something different, then I would save it in the paper group. So in other words, you want to find a place where you can save all this stuff and get back to it as easily as you can. Now I'm going to minimize this for the moment, and I'm going to open up the painting. Now while we're looking, I'm going to go close all of this stuff so we can't see it, and that'll take a minute or two, and depending on how far we are, okay, we're getting down there. Okay, now what I'd like to do is to quickly kind of show you how this painting developed. So the first thing I did would have been this image, this layer right here. I'm pretty sure. I'll tell you what, they're numbered, so why don't we look? Yeah, okay. Now let's go to find layer number 1, if there is one. And if there's not, then there's layer 1. Okay, so the first thing I did was I drew I sort of drew where I thought the roses and the pot would be. Okay, now I'm going to hide that again because, well, I'll leave it on for a while. All right, so now we're going to go down to layer 2. And this would be the next thing I did. And what I was doing here is I was using bristly dab brushes, and I even used a flow map and a little running and all that kind of stuff. But I wanted the background to have some paper texture in it already. And this is created from bristly dab number 11M. Okay. Now, the next layer would be 3, and so I did that, which kind of brought the table over. And then with 4, we brought in this stuff. And then we came in with 5, where I don't know where that is, because I need to open this up a little bit bigger so I can see the layer numbers all over. And sometimes I delete a layer. So 5 may be gone. It probably is. So 5, let's see, do we see 6? No, so it's probably 7 is next. So I'd have done that. Then I would have gone to 8. And as you see, I'm beginning, as I continue, I begin to build up a little bit more impasto. I want the impasto to be in many levels, like from where I can just see the canvas to the fact that the impasto can get thicker. Okay, so now we go to 9. And with 9, I repeated it because that thickens your impasto. And then next is layer 10, which would be this. And with layer 10, I added I was thinking this looked too bright, so I added an overlay to sort of tone it down. Ta-da, like that. And it, helped things get brighter on one side, darker on the other. I used a layer mask to make it work for me. Then we go down to, that was 10. 11 is this one up here, and that's the layer that we're going to explain how we did. And then 12, I added a few little details that I had left out down in the bottom. And that brings us to the end of the way the painting was developed. Okay, so we're going to go away again, and I'll come back and we'll talk specifically about this area up here. All righty, bye-bye for the moment. Talk to you later.